Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Wednesday conversation with Constance, aka Connie. That's me. I'm an executive coach, and I help women 45 plus deal with limiting beliefs and self doubt and the imposter syndrome. So I help them live the life that they want to live. And too often that gets in imposter syndrome, limits their ability to move forward with their lives. I know because I suffered with the imposter syndrome. So if that sounds anything like you, head over to my website and set up a one on one conversation with me. I'd love to chat with you. Okay, so where are you joining me from? I want you to put it in the chat or put it in the comments where you are coming from. I am in the Washington, Maryland area, and I've been living here for maybe 10 years now. And it's a beautiful day. So I'd love to know where you are and how's it going. Let me just hook up my chat. Hmm, Hang on a second. Move. So changes. Okay, I've got some problems here, but I am now waiting for your comments to come in so that I can respond to them. Last week, because of the software that I'm using, some of the comments didn't come through to me. But if you leave a comment, I will make sure that I go back and follow up with you because I'd love to chat with you. Listen, speaking of last week, I had some problems. I don't know if you were watching or not, but it seemed like anything that could go wrong did go wrong. And what was difficult for me to handle was that I wanted this broadcast to be perfect. You know, I planned for it. I thought I had practiced and put my lights up, and I thought everything was set and in place, and I was ready to go. And from the very start, everything seemed to go left. So I'm going to walk you through what happened to me last week. If you saw it, then we can laugh together. If you didn't see it, phew, I'm glad. Um, but I wanted to recap it because I want to talk about this notion that we can be perfect, because I think for a lot of us, the pressure of trying to be perfect is killing us, to be honest with you. So last week was my first broadcast in a long time, nearly 2 years, to be honest with you. To be totally transparent in this recap of what happened and what led up to it. So it's been maybe 2 years since I did a broadcast, created a video content live. And that's because someone said something to me about one of my episodes and how I performed. And you know, when you have a little seed of doubt inside of you and you hear some harsh words and those words kind of glom onto you and just sink into your spirit and get you to believe the negative narrative that's being handed to you. And that happened to me. I'm an executive coach, but I'm not immune to having bouts of self doubt from time to time. So those words hit and they stuck. And so I stopped doing live broadcasts. So I decided enough of that. I'm going to conquer my fears. And that's why I wanted the last week's broadcast to be perfect. And from the start, I was supposed to push a button and I didn't push a button. And so at the very, very, very start of it, you see me with that scrunched up, ugly face. Okay, that happened. All right, no big deal. Just keep it moving, I told myself. Okay, then I looked over at my monitor and I realized Oh my gosh, the cameras are not on. Now, anybody who knows me knows that I am not technically savvy. So I think what people saw was a blurred screen, and you hear me going, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh." Okay, I got past that. Then, as if that's not bad enough, then a friend of mine who I had talked with earlier in the morning dropped by, and she rang the doorbell, and I'm in the middle of this live, perfect uh, episode. And I thought, maybe it's a delivery guy, and you know how they ring the bell and then they drop the package and they go away. That wasn't the case for me. My friend is now thinking, I just talked with her, so something must be wrong. So instead of going away, she ding dong, ding dong, like she must have rang it like 5 times, to the point where I had to say, okay, stand by, let me go answer the door. And so I answered the door and I got back to the broadcast. And then she forgot to leave me something. So in the monitor, I see her like tippy toeing, you know, to the counter to leave me something. And and I think she even paused to like look at the camera. And I just thought, oh my gosh, this cannot be happening to me. I'm trying to do a perfect episode. And it all went left so quickly. I don't know. Has that ever happened to you? Have you ever been in a situation where you wanted everything to go perfectly? You crossed every T, you dotted every I, and you just knew everything was going to go off without a hitch. And then suddenly, quickly, um, everything starts to go wrong at once. Put it in the chat because I love to hear about your experience. Um, and so that's what happened to me. And I could have stopped the broadcast. I could have just said, um, you know, Connie, forget it, and retreat back, right, to hiding out. I could have done that. But I just decided the information I had was good. The information that I was providing would be helpful to somebody out there who's going through a tough time. And I'm just going to power through. I got to tell you, when it was over, I had the biggest laugh because I felt free. I felt free of that burden of one, trying to be perfect, and two, trying to hide what, real life looks like. All of us have been in a situation where we wanted something to go perfectly and it didn't. And we can either retreat like I did for nearly 2 years, or we could keep going and push forward. So today I thought I'd talk about this need for us to be perfect and how we break the habit of being perfect. And I want you to share your stories of how either you're in the grips of this um, desire to be perfect, or whether or not you've broken away from this whole desire to be perfect. Just a word can trigger a lot of pressure in many of us, especially high achieving professional women. We want everything to be perfect. But I think up here we know that nothing is perfect, but we don't get that message in our hearts, right? We don't have that message in our hearts. We spit it out. We say, as I would have said, oh, listen, nothing's perfect. Nothing in your career is going to be perfect. In your relationships, in your parenting, in your appearance is going to be perfect. But still we chase it, right? I was still chasing it. Last week, right up right up until everything went left, I was chasing it. I over prepared. I, double checked, triple checked. I overthought the situation. I over delivered, all in an effort for something to be perfect. So I wouldn't have the judgment. I wouldn't have that critical judgment from myself and from others. But being perfect is not about the quality, right? Um, Excellence is not about the quality, it's the imposter syndrome. It's that nagging voice inside of you that tells you you're not enough. And that if you do everything perfectly, then maybe you'll have confidence. But confidence doesn't come from everything going perfectly. As I found out, confidence comes from what you do when things are going left, what you do when things are falling apart. How do you recover from that? How do you grow and learn from that? In the messy part, that's where your growth is. That's where your resilience is built. It's in that letting go of the need to have everything perfect, the need to be in control of everything that's happening. So, today, let's talk a little bit about letting go and becoming a learner again. See, a lot of us have reached a certain point in our careers, and the idea of becoming a learner, a beginner, is really frightening. But that's where you live your best life. That's where you have your biggest laughs, is when you're starting over and you're learning something new and you're giving yourself permission to grow, to fall down, to look silly, to look panicked, as I did last week, right? You're going to make mistakes and you're going to recover, but you're going to become stronger as well. Everything starts messy. Look at any woman who you admire as successful, and 9 times out of 10, I'll even say 10 times out of 10, she'll have a story about how she was so afraid, terrified even, to start something, to go for a new promotion, to speak up in a meeting, even. She was terrified, but she did it anyway. And that's where your confidence grows. Even though it's scary, you do it anyway. So instead of perfect, I want us to think about becoming a beginner, a learner, so that we meet every challenge with that mindset. That things aren't going to go right, but that's okay, because I learned something in the end. Last week, I learned a lot about myself because I didn't hit that delete button. And, everything inside of me, would have said, start over. Don't let anybody see you in that state. Don't let anybody see you with that crunched up, ugly face. Don't let anybody see you with that panic look. But I feel like my stories and my experience and the things that I've managed to overcome are the very things that help me coach other women in their situations. See, I've had the imposter syndrome, a bad case of the imposter syndrome. And so I can help other women with the imposter syndrome. So when you catch yourself saying things like, I'll be ready when, think about it again, because you might be chasing perfection and it doesn't exist. Start the business, start the project, go for the job. It may not turn out perfectly, but you'll learn something. You may get the job and your resilience is going to increase. You may get the job, you may not get the job, but if you do, you are a step ahead. What if you, like I did, retreat for nearly 2 years and not do anything? Those are 2 years that I lost. So before you say, I'm not ready because everything isn't perfect, think about it again. Being perfect is not about quality control, it's about the fear of judgment. And as I told you, that was my situation. Someone said something that I thought was a judgment, and it glommed on to something inside me, that seed of doubt, and then it stopped me. How many times have you been stopped because someone said something to you that was negative? and it stopped you from pursuing your dreams. It stopped you from going for that next promotion. It stopped you from asking for the money you deserve. That's all part of the imposter syndrome. You have to challenge that inner critic in you, that imposter syndrome voice that tells you you're not enough, that you're not ready. You have to shift your mindset, redefine perfect. Think about it. Instead of some unattainable standard, think about good enough. Now, I'm not telling you to lower your standards by any means, but I am saying don't have this uh, unattainable, impossible standard that forces you to always not meet that level and always think badly of yourself. Recognize that good enough is sometimes sufficient. Do it and move on and learn from it, right? I could have deleted last week's episode. I could have deleted it, and then nobody would have known. Very few people would have known about it, and I would have went on, and I would have retreated, or I would have whatever. Um, but I had good information, and so I felt like it met all of my intentions for last week. I wanted good information. I wanted to provide viewers with concrete tools that could help them in very difficult situations. None of that changed. That information was conveyed. I just kind of looked panicked and crazy there for a minute. And when have we not? It was authentic. And it happens to all of us, as I said. You got to celebrate your progress, not your perfection. Like I'm celebrating today because I came back. I came back for another live episode. And I'm proud of myself for doing that. It's part of me building my resilience and part of me not judging myself, having compassion for myself and what I'm trying to do, and my willingness to show up authentically. And so when you start thinking about the things that you want to do, but you're afraid to do it because it's not perfect, because all of the stars have not aligned for you to do it, especially if you're thinking about starting a business, um, you know, everything is not going to always line up. And you can't hide from that. You can't stop yourself from going for the things that you really desire. See, that's the imposter syndrome. It stands between you and your goals. It stands between you and the dreams and the hopes you have for yourself. So I want you to really, instead of judgment, instead of judging yourself when things don't go correctly, have some curiosity. Ask yourself what you've learned. What was the learning? What was the lesson in the mess, right? My lesson in the mess was tell your friends when you're going to be live so that they don't knock on the door, right? But my biggest lesson from last week is just to trust myself and to be willing to show up 100%, show you the good, the bad, the ugly, and hope that my experiences, as I told you earlier, hope that my experiences and the things that I've faced, the challenges that I've faced, will help another woman not go through the same battlefield that I've had to go through or that I went through. And have self compassion. I can't tell you enough how having compassion and giving yourself grace will help you on your journey. We beat ourselves up too often. We are our worst critics. We say things to ourselves that we would never say to our friends, and yet we think that's okay. So I want you to really think about this whole idea of being perfect. And when you catch yourself saying, oh, it's not ready yet, or I'm waiting for that perfect moment and that's when I'll launch my new business. I'm waiting for, XYZ to happen, and then I'll, go for it. Life doesn't unfold like that. There's nothing perfect in life. Everything gets a little messy in your personal life, in your career. Things just go wrong, and we power through. And that's my message for today. Let's not try to pursue something that just simply does not exist. I want you to leave in the chat or in the comment, depending on where you're watching me from. Leave me a message and tell me if this resonated with you, if this helped you. I really hope it did, because I think too many women chase perfection, um, and we chase it at the expense of living the life that we want to live. Okay, everybody, I'm Constance Howard, executive coach. You can find me at constancehowardllc.com. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. If you head over to my website, you'll find all of my links there. And if you want a one-on-one conversation, please feel free to leave me a message, and I will definitely follow up with you. I will see you next week live with another message. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye, everybody.